What is going on? This is Shango Ray, and this is the energy read for the full moon and lunar eclipse today, November 19th. I already shuffled and pulled a few cards. This is going to be kind of like the Cliff Note version, if I can help it. Even though this moon is in Taurus, I feel, given that there's a wild card here, that wild card is this lunar eclipse too. I do feel a theme to be mindful of, as far as this shit goes, is really being aware of the whole as above, so below factor. The reason being is it has been said, and I can actually see some validity to this point, that when we have a situation like, actually, I think as I'm filming this, I think the shit's going down right now. I think it or it just started, so I have other work to do after I get off of this. But basically, you get the full moon, but you also get like a whole lunar phase in the time of that eclipse. That's one perspective on the energy also. So you get like 28 days worth of in that eclipse, and it's a full moon. So, and this one's going to be the longest. So, you know, it's something to also kind of keep that in mind. You know, a lot of different cultures and stuff use actually the moon to tell or keep time. So I say that because what you may not understand is you're setting a tone for quite some time, even if it's just more of a subtle layer throughout the next, I don't know how long, but for a minute. And I know a lot of us have had a lot of different things, you know, going on, sometimes multiple things going on. This is also a time for friendships and working partnerships, though. I'm not going to. Okay. This is another card, the Joker. I don't know if you can see Senor Joker here, but this represents, to me, an element of chaos. Number one. Chaos simply meaning, as far as that I'm saying it, is anything is possible right now. And it's like all possibilities are like vibrating, waiting to collapse. So what's it going to be? You know, I look at the Joker also as like a little quantum particle that can become, you know, a planet or something. But what I'm being prompted to say, and what I feel Senor Joker is actually one of the points, main points anyway, he's trying to get across, is oftentimes he does represent a leap of faith. But just so you know, just like the Taurus bull might kind of go slow, but it's slow and steady, and you ain't stopping it. The Joker was actually saying that now is the time to take your step in faith. Not step of faith, but step in faith. And in a step in faith, he was saying basically you can start as a quantum particle. You can start as a quantum particle. You know? The most important part is just the consistency. So if you make it, go ahead and make it fucking quantum. Quantum enough where I'll do this. I'm committing to just doing whatever that is for you. Instead of trying to worry about eating the whole elephant. You know, taking the whole thing. Take your time, you know, take your time. You may have probably watched other maybe readings or whatever about this particular time right now that we are in. And I'm showing that, well, you can't really see it, but it's the 10 of spades and it's reversed. This definitely does represent an ending, or like an ending, but in the way, it's like the way it ends though. You understand? It's like just, you know, some of you are going to, I mean, it may seem abrupt. You may even surprise yourself. You may end something. Because you have to. It may be ended for you. I seen a woman, and I don't know why Spirit gives me examples or what. I mean, so I'm just going to pass it along. I'm not even going to try and explain. I seen a woman who does hair, and she had like a green, maybe I'd say a dress. Was like a, it wasn't just green. It was maybe a shade or a couple shades darker than just green. But this lady was doing hair, and like all of a sudden, either the shop that she was working out of closes, or something like her space, something, I don't know, something happens and she can't. So I don't know, but I don't know if that was like more metaphoric or if that feels literal, but it feels to me a little bit literal. Yeah, and the dress don't got no, it's just a dress thing, but like it don't have like, yeah. But like I said, this is a time too that I feel like in some ways, the best way I could describe, I'm gonna give it to you, Sean Goic style, all right? It's like expect the unexpected in a way. I definitely feel, like I said, when I say chaos, or I feel like a chaotic energy or vibe to shit, it means that can also mean, you know, what you would consider to be positive. Shit could just instantly mature and manifest, bam, like in ways that you totally didn't even expect. Or maybe something that you had casted for a little bit ago, maybe you forgot about it, and it comes to you in a way totally unexpected, which is usually how it works. But I just see and feel this more amplified. At the same time, having said that, I do also see other things in situations where the result is plain and simple, something getting cut off that you would have wanted, that you do want to continue, but for whatever reason, it cannot continue. This is also looking to be a very creative time too, I feel. I do feel inspired, but I also know you probably, or you may have been feeling inspired to go within even more. Card here, 3 of clubs. All right. The last card is this, right? And this and the one I just showed you, to me, go together in this way. Some of you are going to see the fruit of you not like saying what you have to say, or expressing yourself the way you have to express yourself. And what I'm getting is that this will bubble up or come to fruition in a very particular situation. And as that happens, or after, or right after, or whenever, but because of that, it's going to become apparent to you why that happened. At the same time, this king is telling me not to be a foolish king. This is a king that didn't listen to his queen. His queen being his intuition. And even yet, and yet from another perspective too, I'm seeing a group of people where the issue is being blinded by your emotions and not being able to see the logic of the situation. Like if you're in a particular situation and maybe it's highly emotionally charged, right? Ask yourself this question, right? If not even a friend, just a cool associate said, hey, and said, I got a problem, I want your advice. And they told you the situation. And it's your situation that you're in now. What would you tell them? What would you tell them? And if that's the case, if it's different, which I presume it is, then why aren't you telling yourself that? And if you are telling yourself that, why aren't you acting on what you're telling yourself? You know. I see yet another king who's very stubborn. Maybe too logical. Because things can be made to look logical. They say vibes never lie. I can say, hey, you know what? I can agree with that. But you got to make sure you're listening to the vibes and not the violence inside your head, your issues, right? So, as erratic as this energy may be because of the wild card, right? And there's a lot of things. This is a good time, though, for that shadow work. If you're in a relationship and let's say you experience a challenge in the relationship, this maybe it ain't, but it may be a good time, to do shadow work. I mean, you should always strive to do some, that inner work, whatever degree of that inner work that you can, And sometimes there are situations where it ain't just you or your issues. Yes, maybe it's you do and you have issues. But at the same time, there may be some reality to deal with. Maybe one of your issues is not wanting to accept that reality. So it's a very tricky situation sometimes, depending. I can already feel some of you are in some very tricky situations and like the stakes are high, or they feel high for you. Maybe you could think back a few years when you were in that last relationship and it was like, oh, they're high now. When you think about it now, it's like, meh. But yeah. I think creative journaling would be would bear a lot of fruit for some of you. I called it creative journaling, but it's like where you maybe get creative as opposed to just writing what you're feeling, or like, I had a dream, there was a giant bee, or whatever. Like, that's one way of doing things, and it's a good thing. It's good to get that stuff out of your head, just because. But then there's also like doing maybe something creative, and I'm trying to like think of an example. Or maybe you write like a little story or something, but you'd be surprised, because like what you're doing is you're tapping into the creative part of your mind. And that creative part of your mind also, it's like it has this fucking TV tower, this antenna. And it's like the guy inside the tower, he finally woke up and he turned the switches on and started hitting the buttons and shit, and has this thing going now. And you'd be surprised like what comes through. Being creative is being creative. It doesn't matter the context or the form in which you're being creative. It's that creative spirit. Yeah. But that is what I have for you. Take what you can get from it. Okay? Discard what does not work for you. My name is Sean Goray. It's been my pleasure. Now I got to get back to other work. So, peace, infernal, blessings, and we will see you on the next one.